friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shayla and today I'm here to wrap up the reading month of November for you. So November was definitely by far not my biggest reading month, but I did pretty good considering how busy I was. So I'm going to start first with the 3 books that I read for nonfiction November, and then I'll get on to the other things that I read within the month. So the first book is A Grief Observed by C.S. Lewis. It's this little tiny writing about how C.S. Lewis dealt with his grief when his wife passed away and how he blamed God. He kind of lost his faith in God for a while and how he came back to be the Christian religious man that we all know him to be. I found this pleasant to read. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It was hard to read at points just because it was so hard to read his grief, but I do think it's important to read, and I do recommend this to anybody who maybe needs help grieving over something. The next 2 books are actually connected. The first book is And the Good News Is by Dana Perino. This is her autobiography. This focuses a lot of the time when she was working as the person in charge of President Bush's press. I forget the actual title here for a moment. But she was in charge of all of his press, and she's fantastic. She's a fantastic human. You get to know her growing up. She's amazing. I really enjoyed this read. It just made me fall in love with her even more. I already enjoyed Dana as a person, you know, just from what I see as she discusses things on the news. If you don't watch The 5, I highly recommend you do, no matter what your political standing, because it's 5 grown humans sitting there and discussing all their different opinions on what's going on in the world, and it's fantastic. But this was a really good book for me to read. I thought it was really great to see the relationship that she had with the president and how she protected him and he protected her and all of these different things. She was actually shot when she was overseas with President Bush. I don't know that many people know that. So anyways, I learned a lot about her and I really, really enjoyed this book. I believe I gave it 4 stars, and I think that's pretty high for my autobiographies. Most of them end up being like 3.5, but that one was 4. And this one was a 3-star, and this is Let Me Tell You About Jasper, also by Dana Perino. So those of you who know Dana or are familiar with her at all know that she also has basically an Instagram dedicated to her dog, Jasper. America has kind of taken Jasper in as their own. People like Photoshop him in all these big famous places and all these cool things, and it's just really fun. Half the book is just pictures of Jasper, but it's a really fun read and about how she's so grateful that Jasper is somebody for everybody in America, no matter how they feel about life. So anyways, this was just really fun, really sweet, 3 stars. You know, not the greatest book, not the worst book. I thought it was fun. And again, I like Dana, so I really just enjoyed it for that reason. So those were my 3 reads for nonfiction November. Let me get into the other things I read quickly. I just finished Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, which is the first book in the Grisha trilogy. I ended up reading this first book more as a reference so that I can go and read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, because those are the books we were reading for the Shaegeeksout book club group. And we'll be discussing them in the end of January, so I wanted to have plenty of time to read the other 2. But I really enjoyed it, and I will probably go on to finish this series. I'm not sure when I'll finish it, but I know I want to finish it, and within the next 6 months I will finish it, because I really enjoyed it. These next 2 are 2 books that I read in November every year, ever since I got them. I got them as a gift from a very sweet client, and that is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and Jacob T. Marley by R. William Bennett. So Jacob T. Marley is like Jacob Marley's story during A Christmas Carol. So you kind of get both sides of the story. I enjoy both reads. They help get me in the Christmas spirit. These are ones that I usually sit down on a Sunday and plow through because neither of them are very long. They're quick, easy reads. And I really just enjoy reading them every season. It just helps get me in the right spirit and the right mindset of giving and just making sure I'm being the best person that I can be through the whole month of December. Next up is Volume 6 of Fruits Basket. Nobody's surprised this is on my list. I just picked up Volume 7 last night, so that'll clearly be on December's list. I really am adoring this manga. The manga is way better than the anime. Like, read the manga. Just read the manga. Trust me, read them all. Next up is the book that I buddy read with April Sarah over on her channel, and congrats for 2,000 subscribers on her channel. Go give her some love if you haven't, because she's fantastic. I love her pink hair. Like, she's just an adorable human. Go check her out. And that was Winterspell by Claire Legrand. Her and my feelings were pretty much mirrors of each other. So basically, when it comes to this book, it was a beautiful book. I loved how it was written. I loved the world she created. Some of the characters fell a little flat for me, so that kind of, messed with my experience a little bit. So, like, it's a 3.54 star book. Like, it was a good book. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best book around. Does that make sense? It's not like I'm going to tell you to run out there and read this book right this second, because it's a good book. Get around to reading it, especially if you like the Nutcracker at all, because this is a Nutcracker reimagining, retelling, and it was really enjoyable. It was a nice break from all the other standard fairy tales that April and I have been reading this year, so this was just nice and fresh to throw into our loop. Next up is Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger. I buddy read this with my friend Jen Suze over on Instagram. I will link her Instagram account down below. She's adorable. Her account's private currently, but if you send her a friend request, I'm sure she'd love it. And we both really enjoyed this series. I mean, Gail Carriger's world that she's built these characters in is fantastic. I love it. I thoroughly enjoyed this read. I do plan on picking up the rest of the series soon, so her and I can continue buddy reading that. I also need to pick up the last two in the Parasol Protectorate series, so April and I can finish them. I've got lots of books to purchase by Gail Carriger so that I can finish buddy reading them with my friends. And last but not least this month was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I've done a full review on this, so I will leave that linked down below. I ended up enjoying this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. This is a Queen of Hearts origin story. I thought, if you like Marissa Meyer's writing at all, I think you'll enjoy this. I really enjoyed the characters. You kind of know where it's headed in the beginning, but you still want to see how they get there. I really loved how all of that played out, and I would love for her to continue on in this story. I hope with all my heart that she chooses to, because this was fantastic. It's great as a standalone as well, but I do think she opened up this other, like, wormhole into this other amazing universe that I would love to see her explore more. Okay guys, so that was November for me. Like I said, it was a pretty decent month. It wasn't the biggest reading month I've had by any means. I felt like what I read was thoroughly enjoyable, and that I would probably read almost all of those again. So anyways, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, click subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!